Hello, this is Ny3. This video is going to be a detailed description about the card choices and the potential plays my top 16 New Zealand national deck can do. If you haven't seen the shortened profile, I suggest you guys go and do that. And if there was something that you didn't understand completely, you can come back and watch this video. So to start things off, I'm going to be starting with the extra deck because the main win conditions of this deck is through spamming the monsters in the extra deck. The main card is the triple Beatrice. Now Beatrice, summoning 3 of her is the main win condition of the deck. She is definitely the best rank 6 monster ever released. Now what sets her apart from the other rank 6s is that not only can she float, so she is the only rank 6 that doesn't care about mass removal such as Raigeki. She is also the only rank 6 you can safely summon into back row, such as Solemn Strikes. Even if her summon gets negated, you still can float. If they activate something that's not a counter trap, such as Bottomless Trap Hole, you still can chain her effect and get your +1 by sending whatever it is that you would like to send at that moment. Now the main barrier that Beatrice broke for the rank 6 base decks is that she has 2 uses. Now, the problem with cards such as Heretic Dragon King of Atum, a great rank 6, is that Atum has a lot of offensive capabilities. You know, when you make one Atum, you make half of the next Atum, and you quickly spam the board and put a lot of damage there to OTK your opponent. But putting 8,000 on board isn't really going to do you that much good if you cannot OTK, or if the OTK gets stopped, or if it is obviously the first turn and you cannot attack. So what you really want to be summoning in those situations are lockdown cards that negate cards or effects, such as Photon Strike Bouncer. Now the problem with cards such as Photon Strike Bouncer is once you make one, you probably are not going to be able to make the next one, since making a bouncer does not help in any way to make your second bouncer. So this is where Beatrice comes in handy. Beatrice on your turns can dump cards to the graveyard such as Destiny Hero Malicious, which is going to facilitate making the next Beatrice. Beatrice on your opponent's turn is going to be able to drop into the graveyard cards such as Farfa, Malabranch of the Burning Abyss, which is going to disrupt your opponent, giving them a very difficult time. So the release of Beatrice is what really got me thinking into making this deck. As soon as she was announced for OCG release, I knew that such a deck would be possible. So once it was confirmed that she was coming out in Premium Gold 3, I started theorizing what could potentially go into this deck, what could make her and spam her really easily. Now, I've gone through a lot of different engines. The obvious ones such as Dragunity's and Heretics, Pendulum builds including Oath Dragon Magicians, the Ignite level 6s, even Zephranu, Secret of the Yangzing, Ritual builds including Gishkis. There's a lot of possible ways to make this deck work, and even right now I'm not fully convinced that I have the best engine for making her. I've gone through the whole entire card pool, isolated every level 6 or monster that can become level 6, weighed out their advantages and disadvantages against each other, looked at every card that had an effect in the graveyard that she could potentially dump to either disrupt or extend my own plays, which made this deck not a very easy deck to make. Now I'm sure people in other places of the world might have also come up with similar ideas independently. If they want to say that they did not get this deck idea from me, give them the benefit of the doubt. Most of these ideas, probably around 90% of it, I did come up on my own. I'll give credit where due, and it was actually something that I've never thought about, but it's pretty good and I incorporated into this deck. I will point those out throughout this video. But yeah, that's Beatrice, the main win condition of the deck. Now unfortunately, Beatrice doesn't do a whole lot to Kozmos, pretty much does nothing to Kozmos really, and that's why I'm also running the Photon Strike Bouncer. Photon Strike Bouncer can negate pilots, tagging out even if they banish themselves for a cost, they still activated on the field, so you can totally negate them. Against Kozmos, the turn 1 play would be double Beatrice Bouncer instead of triple Beatrice. And for the final Xyz monster, I ran an Abyss Dweller. Now Dweller is just very good in this floater based format against Kozmos and Burning Abyss, so when you do nuke their field with the scatter shots, which I will get into later, when you nuke their fields, you want the Dweller to stop their floating, and that would usually end the game for you since they would have lost everything that they placed on the field. Next up for the Synchros, I'm only running the one level 8, and that's Goyo King. Now Goyo King's second effect, to take control of a face-up monster your opponent controls, does not target, because that is after the semicolon on the text, which means if you kill a Kozmo ship, he's 3/2 when he's attacking, so he could run over any Kozmo ship. If you kill a Kozmo ship, or any Kozmo, or any monster, you can take their other ship and attack with it, so that's very strong. Or if they just have the ship, you can kill the ship. Since you're turn player, you're going to be Chainlink 1, and just grab whatever thing they float into. If it's in defense mode, tough. If it's in attack mode, you can attack them with it. Unfortunately, Goyo King did not come up even once during the day, since I've bricked most of my game 1s against Kozmos, and game 2s I side in far superior outs to the ships. So Goyo King isn't really needed in game 2s and 3. I have the one Virgil. I can float, it's one of the float targets for Beatrice into. Draw 1 when it dies is always good to have. I can make it with the engine, the main deck engine, but I never actually did. It's just an option. And Virgil is just slightly better than the Pilgrim, which I also run. But Virgil facilitates you being able to make another rank 6, so another Beatrice, when your first Beatrice dies. So if you didn't open 2 optimally, you open the single Beatrice. You can crash the Beatrice, next turn grab the Virgil, and start making the second and the third Beatrice with it. So that's very good. Duloran is one of the 2-card combos. It's required in one of the 2-card combos in the deck, which I'll get into later. And it's a level 6, obviously. Dragunity Knight Gaydarg, main combo piece in the deck, and double Dragunity Knight Vajrayana. You never really need to, you only need one. The reason 2 is here is because I just wanted a main deck method to deal with anyone funny trying to drop a Great Magnus on me, since you can double their attacks 2, 3, 8. Obviously they're going to try and spin one of them, but if you can drop 2 of these, you can have 2, 2, 3, 8 attack monsters and just run over the Magnus. So that's the main reason of 2. You never really need 2. If you're not expecting Magnuses, one of them is probably better off as another level 8 Synchro, or as a Stardust Charger Warrior, just to give you a +1 when you don't need to recur the Dragunity Phalanx with the Dragunity Knight Vajrayana. For the fusions, I got the one Pilgrim, really good card, helps you live when they kill your Beatrice. The Gem Knight Seraphonite, I'm running the Gem Knight engine, it's very good in here, which I'll get into later. The one Norden is the only water, I think, for summoning the Duloran, and it's also the main way to summon the Abyss Dweller. And 500 bonus attack obviously never hurts. Well, it might if they have Ragnar Zero, but who runs that? The one Marvelous is actually pretty important to have the Marvelous. Norden does not completely outclass the Marvelous since your Dragunities, especially Gaydarg, they all need Wing Beast non-tuners. And if you're going in turn 1, you will not have an established graveyard for Norden to make use of its full potential, and Marvelous is just better because it's a Wing Beast. So that's the extra deck. Now to explain the main deck. The main deck is made up of a lot of engines, so we'll get into the main one first, which is triple terraforming, double ravine, double ducks, one phalanx, harpy harpist, double Zephyros the Elite, Gusto Griffin, and Gusto Winda. These two were the ones that I forgot to write on my deck list and got a game loss in top 16, which was not very good, and I could not run these for the rest of the day. And they're very key combo pieces for those of you who understand Dragunities. If you don't, I'll probably have a segment at the end where I explain why exactly the Gustos are very crucial and how to do the combos. Now, this is the main engine, and it's the Dragunity engine. The reason I chose the Dragunity engine over the other engines that I've mentioned, such as Ignites or Heretics, etc., is because if you can make Gaydarg, which requires just the one or two cards, just the one Ducks can make it if you have the Phalanx in the graveyard. Gaydarg is able to add the Gusto Griffin and drop the Gusto Griffin to special summon Windar from your deck, and that's an instant rank 6, one card rank 6 play. And I really wanted to minimize the amount of cards needed to do these combos, not just for consistency's sake, but for game 2s where you actually want to side in cards such as Twin Twisters and still be able to combo. Now, of course, you don't really need double Ducks nor the Harpy Harpist. These two are mainly in the deck because I ran out of side deck space. The main deck is 50 total after adding these two cards. The more cards, the better, kind of, because for this deck you have a lot of things like, again, the scatter shots that you never really want to draw into. So that's the main reason for above 40. And you can, increase your combo pieces a lot. For example, you could put in the third Zephyros to increase the deck size even more. You could put in the third Ducks or the second Phalanx, etc. Or you could put in a whole entire engine such as the Heretic engine to bump it up even higher. But above 40 definitely does not hurt the deck, since there aren't really any key cards you want to draw, but there are key cards you never want to draw. Now, the reason for double Zephyros, even though it's once per duel, is because of the 2-card interaction between Zephyros and Ravine. Now, these 2 cards get you triple Beatrice without anything else. So, that's obviously a pretty powerful interaction. I also ran the triple instant fusion. So this is one of the combos that I got online. It's not one of the combos I thought of, but Ravine instant fusion is a 2-card triple Beatrice again, except you do need some non-specific discard fodder. So it's not truly 2-card Beatrice, but you need 2 specific cards and 2 any cards to pull it off. So it's pretty much a 2-card triple Beatrice combo. Now, the instant fusions, if it was just that one interaction with the Dragon's Ravine, I would obviously not run the instant fusion. But as I emphasized earlier the importance of Abyss Dweller, Instant Fusion just gives more and easier access to the Abyss Dwellers, which is why I opted to run the Instant Fusion engine. To facilitate more rank 6s, I also ran the Primitive Butterflies. This is pretty much a Solar Windjammer that's level 6. Very straightforward, good card. Another rank 6 enabling engine would be the Psychics. So I got the double E-Telly and the triple Rise Bell. When Rise Bell is special summoned, you can target a monster, increase its level by up to 3. So you can target itself and it'll go up to level 6. Overdrive Teleporters, now these things are also level 6. You can pay 2,000 and summon 2 of these from the deck, which means resolving this gives you instant triple Beatrice, since both the Rise Bells are going to pump themselves up to level 6. And this deck has a lot of tribute fodders, E-Telly being one of them, Brilliant Fusion being one of them, Instant Fusion, etc, etc. You'll probably notice them as I go along. This engine, I mean, although you have these 3 cards that you never really want to draw, you know, they serve no purposes in your hand, it's still pretty good, just because with Overdrive Teleporter, you have yet another 2-card triple Beatrice combo, instead of more consistent 3-card Beatrice combos. Now, using only 2 to achieve the result of 3 cards is obviously very good to have. Now, as for the main things that you would dump on your own turn with Beatrice, they are the following, and it is the triple Destiny Hero Malicious. This is what gets you triple Beatrice really easily. Easily the MVP of the deck would be the Fabled Soulkiss. The deck would probably not exist without this one card here. And this one card just pretty much negates the inconsistencies of opening your Malicious. Like, because this exists, opening Malicious is actually very beneficial, since you can just drop any 2 cards from your hand to summon it from the graveyard, and it is not even a once per turn, and he is level 6. So it's a perfect fit into the deck. You know, you not only do you drop your Beatrices, you drop your other stuff like your Blaze Accelerator reloads, etc. And he also comes in handy in the grind sometimes. Now with only the Malicious, the triple Malicious, it's not enough to make triple Beatrice just yet. We need one more level 6, and that's where the Carbonating comes from. You can banish Carbonating from your graveyard and summon a vanilla dragon from your deck. So you summon your level 6 Wattail Dragon just for extra level 6s, and to make the 3rd Beatrice when you've made the first 2. I also have another vanilla target for Carbonating, and that's the Galaxy Serpent. Galaxy Serpent is a Dragon Tuner, and it makes your Dragunity Synchros, Dragunity Knights, since they require Dragon Tuners and Wing Beast non-tuners. If you can special summon the Galaxy Serpent out, you can then make this without Phalanx, so you can normal summon your Ducks, normal summon your Zephyros, and of course Dragunity Knight Gaydurg is able to summon the Gust of Windar, and the rank 6 plays just stem off from there. The other use for vanillas is in the Brilliant Fusion engine. You can grab back the vanillas when you drop one of them as the light target for Brilliant, and Lazuli as the Gem Knight target. lazuli when it's sent to the graveyard for a card effect, you can grab back a vanilla monster from your graveyard. Which means Brilliant Fusion, at the very least, can be used as a primitive butterfly pretty much, since you get an additional normal summon, and if you grab this back, you can use your additional normal summon first to tribute over the Seraphonite, and that's just the level 6 without using your normal summon of the turn. Yeah, I opened this twice in one match. I opened Brilliant Lazuli twice in one match, and one more time throughout the rest of the day, which is pretty bad since it means you're starting with a 4-card hand. You can discard both of them for Fabled Sulcus or Dragon's Ravine, which means they're not 100% dead, but they're still pretty dead, and I lost all of those games actually. Yeah, so that's not too ideal, but Brilliant Fusion definitely saved me a lot, since having 2 normal summons just lets you play around a lot of things. It just gives you a lot of additional plays that you should not have had to play around back row or chainable removal, such as opposing Beatrices or opposing Dark Destroyers. Brilliant Fusion, other light targets include Fabled Sulcius. So, if you open your Maliciouses or whatnot, you can dump Lazuli Fabled Sulcius and start pitching those cards that you want in the graveyard to summon Fabled Sulcius. Yeah, very good engine.